Hey family, Dad here. Hope you're having a great day. On this video, I just wanted to talk about the three adjustments I've made in my life that I felt has helped me out in the long run. So I've always kind of worked out and drank plenty of water. I think those are two big pillars in having, feeling better, feeling good about yourself physically and emotionally. But also, I've done a couple other things probably in the last year and a half that I feel has benefited me. I anticipate using these three changes for the foreseeable future. So the first one is, and this happened in July of 2023, was I quit drinking. I quit drinking alcohol. And to this day, as we are in March of 2025, have had no issues, no urges to drink again or have a beer. Turning back the clock before July of 2023, I wasn't a huge drinker, but I would drink, probably on average 6 to 8 beers a week, a beer a day, essentially. But, on the weekends, I would have a little more. And then during the week, not so much. So I would say roughly about 6 to 8 beers a week. As I made the transition to no alcohol, I slowly kind of reduced my alcohol intake to the point by July of 2023, I had no alcohol. And part of that is on my girlfriend. She stopped drinking as well, probably about 4 or 5 months before I did at the beginning of 2023. So I thought, she's doing it, and I applauded her for that. I thought, why not me? In reality, there's really no benefits on the intake of alcohol. I think the old science, red wine was good for you just because of the grapes, but I think the alcohol content kind of counteracts the benefits of red wine. All I've seen as far as the research, nothing but bad things about the effects of alcohol. So, and then the second thing was, and I started in 2024, cold baths. I'm not a freak on this. I don't do it every day. I think the studies show 11 minutes per week shows some benefits on cold baths. But mind you, when I first started this, I didn't go cold. Now I'm roughly about 42, 43 degrees. On average, I do it twice a week. So probably 5.5 minutes each time, which equals to 11 minutes a week. Now, this never started at 42, 43 degrees. At the very beginning, it was really warm. I want to say probably in the 50s. And then I gradually worked my way down on that. So I think the very first time, I tried to do 50 and it was really cold. It was bone chilling cold. I couldn't handle a minute. So the next time I kind of increased the temperature up to like 55 degrees, did it for about 2, 3 minutes, and then worked my way down to the point today where I'm at 42, 43 degrees for 5.5 minutes. I did 40 for a little bit, but I noticed that my toes, they would get like frostbitten. I could definitely feel it in my toes after a couple days when I did a cold bath at 40 degrees. So I stopped doing 40. I feel like 41 to 43 is pretty optimal for me, where I don't feel any kind of lingering, pain after an ice bath. And so as far as these ice baths, I do it in my bathtub. I'm pretty cheap. I didn't buy a cold bath. I didn't buy anything fancy or anything like that. I did buy some ice molds, like 5, 10 pound ice molds from Amazon. And I use those, freeze them, and then, put them in the bathtub. I don't submerge myself up to my, collarbone. I think that's what the best effects are. Usually I'm above, like right around my belly button when I'm laying down in the bathtub, a little higher up above the belly button. But for me, that works. And I feel like, hey, a little bit of ice bath is better than no ice bath, at least in my mind. And I do feel like it does help me, especially mentally. I think I'm focused a little more in that regards, but I do see some benefits in my mind on the cold baths. And then the last one that I do is I started drinking coffee probably about 4 or 5 months ago. So as we're in March of 2025, yes, that's one of the third thing that I've made adjustments in the last probably year and a half in my life. I drink coffee. Before I drank coffee, I started noticing probably in the afternoon crash. I get up roughly around 5:30 every morning, but I can definitely feel the crash in the probably early to mid afternoon. And so I went down a rabbit hole a little bit just to see, what I could take to kind of give me a quick pick me up in the afternoon. I looked at energy drinks, I looked at 5 Hour Energy, and then I looked at coffee. And it seemed like for me, coffee seems to have the most benefits. It's an antioxidant. It seems like there's some other benefits with coffee. So I gave it a shot. Now I drink black coffee. I drink it iced, so iced black coffee. And then I do, 2 shots of chocolate syrup to sweeten it up. I know sugar's not great for you, but for me, in order to kind of choke down the coffee, I need a little sweetness in there. So I thought, for me, chocolate works best. And so far, past 4 or 5 months, I feel like I'm a little more alert in the afternoons. I have more energy. I don't feel like I'm crashing. So I feel like just having that coffee 12, 1 o'clock, and then the afternoon, I'm a little more productive. I can get stuff done. And one of the fears of drinking coffee for me was, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep at night, but having it right around 12, 1 o'clock, I sleep well. All these 3 things I've done probably in the last year and a half. I feel they've benefited me, and that's why I've kept going on with them. There are some adjustments I've had to make in my life, but other than that, they were minor, no issues or anything like that. We'll see how long I do this for. I could do it for the rest of my life. It could be temporary. I may switch it up. I don't know. But today, stopping alcohol, doing cold baths, and drinking coffee, I feel has benefited me so far through today. So tell me your thoughts. What have you done? What adjustments have you made in your life that you feel has benefited you? Comment, like, subscribe. I would definitely appreciate it. So that's all I got. I'll see you at the next video.